The entertainment world was struck with grief when news broke that Cleto Escobedo III, the beloved band leader of Jimmy Kimmel Live and one of host Jimmy Kimmel's oldest friends, had passed away at the age of 59. The announcement came quietly on Tuesday afternoon, but by evening, the entire nation saw the pain in Kimmel's eyes as he tried to hold himself together on camera. The man known for making millions laugh could barely speak as he delivered the most emotional monologue of his career. "We've been on the air for almost 23 years, Kimmel began, his voice trembling, "and I've had to do some hard monologues along the way. But this one is the hardest because late last night, early this morning, we lost someone very special who was much too young to go." Then came the words that no one expected to hear. Cleto Escobedo III, his band leader and lifelong friend, was gone. Cleto's passing felt like the end of an era. For more than 2 decades, he had been the joyful sound and heartbeat of Jimmy Kimmel Live. His saxophone, his smile, and his humor were woven into the fabric of the show. But for Jimmy Kimmel, this loss went far beyond the stage. This was not just a colleague he had lost, it was the boy he grew up with, the friend who had shared every major chapter of his life. Kimmel took a deep breath before continuing his tribute. His tears fell freely as he began to tell the story of their friendship, how 2 kids from Las Vegas grew up side by side, building a bond that fame could never touch. He recalled the year 1979, when his family moved to a small subdivision in Las Vegas called Meadowlark Lane. "There was a boy who lived on my block," Kimmel said, trying to smile through his sadness. "He lived across the street and 2 houses over. He was a little older than me, a year older. His name was Cleto, but we all called him Junior." Their first meeting was something Kimmel could never forget. "I was riding my bike down the street wearing boxing gloves and my mom's sunglasses," he said. Later, he told me that when he first saw me, he thought I was special, not in the good way. He thought I was some poor, unfortunate kid. But eventually we met, and we became friends. Not just regular friends. We were inseparable. The audience laughed softly, the same way you laugh through tears. Kimmel went on to describe how, one summer, he spent 33 nights in a row sleeping over at Cleto's house. "We were never bored," he said. "We were always up to something. We laughed all the time. We had our own language that nobody else understood. We didn't have to look at each other. We just knew what the other was thinking." As boys, they bonded over baseball, fishing, boxing, and music. They idolized Muhammad Ali, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Woody Allen, Michael McDonald, Huey Lewis, Stevie Wonder, and above all, David Letterman. "We never missed Letterman," Kimmel said. "The first time I was on The Late Show with David Letterman in 1999, it was one of the biggest moments of my life. I remember walking through New York City, nervous and excited, and I called Cleto just so we could be amazed together that this was happening." While Kimmel pursued comedy, Cleto found his passion in music. From an early age, he showed extraordinary talent as a saxophonist. "He was phenomenal," Kimmel recalled proudly. "He was a child prodigy who would get standing ovations in junior high school, if you can imagine that." Cleto was raised in a musical family. His father, Cleto Escobedo II, was also a saxophone player who had once put aside his career to support his family. His son carried that dream forward, later joining Paula Abdul's tour as both a saxophonist and a singer. He even released his own album. "I remember walking into Tower Records and buying his album," Kimmel said. "It was one of the proudest moments of my life, watching my best friend succeed." Then came 2002, the turning point. ABC offered Kimmel his own late-night show. "When you do a show like this, you need a desk, an announcer, a Guillermo, and you need a band," Kimmel said. "And of course, I wanted Cleto to lead my band. We grew up watching Dave and Paul, and the idea that anyone else would lead the band was terrifying. It had to be him." Still, he worried that the network might refuse, so he arranged an audition. "We set up a night where Cleto and his dad would perform at a club in Los Angeles for an ABC executive named Lloyd Braun," Kimmel explained. "They played Pick Up the Pieces by the Average White Band, two saxophones, father and son. Lloyd watched them, smiled, and said, "I love it," and that was it. We've been working together every day since. That moment began a partnership that would define Jimmy Kimmel Live for more than 2 decades. Kimmel said one of the greatest joys of his career was watching Cleto perform with his father. "I've often said that the single best thing about doing this show was getting to allow Cleto Sr. to pick up where he left off in 1966 and become a musician again with his son." As the years passed, Cleto became much more than the show's band leader. He was its emotional core, the quiet, funny, endlessly kind soul who kept the energy alive night after night. He never sought the spotlight. He simply loved the music and the people around him. Kimmel, overcome with emotion, tried to explain what made him so special. "Everyone loved Cleto," he said. "Everyone here at the show is devastated by this. It's just not fair. He was the nicest, most humble, kind, and always funny person. He loved me. He loved being part of this. He never took it for granted. He was just a great older brother. No baggage, all love." Kimmel paused, covering his face as tears rolled down his cheeks. The audience sat still, many in tears themselves. For 23 years, Cleto and Jimmy had been a team, the comedian and the musician, the talker and the player. But behind the jokes and the cameras, they had shared something deeper, a friendship that began when they were children and endured through fame, stress, and time. Kimmel explained that what made Cleto truly unique was his spirit. "He loved seeing all this happen," he said. "He loved every part of it. He was happy for everyone's success, not just his own." Then, his voice breaking again, Kimmel said the words that defined his grief. "It's just not fair," he repeated. "We loved all the same things. We laughed so much. There's no one in my life I've ever felt more comfortable with." When he could finally speak again, Kimmel told the audience that Jimmy Kimmel Live would take the rest of the week off to honor Cleto. "Even though I'm heartbroken to lose him," he said, "I'm going to take yet another lesson from him and acknowledge how lucky I was to have him literally at my side for so many years. Cherish your friends. We're not here forever." The tribute ended quietly. There was no applause, no music, just a long, aching silence. It was the kind of silence that follows real love and real loss. After the broadcast, tributes poured in from friends, fans, and celebrities. They described Cleto as the soul of the show, a light in the room, and the man who made every day brighter. Fellow musicians shared memories of his warmth and humor. Fans posted clips of him playing the saxophone with that unmistakable grin. And through it all, Jimmy Kimmel's words echoed online. "Cherish your friends. We're not here forever." For many viewers, the moment was deeply personal. They had watched Kimmel and Cleto together for years, laughing, teasing, performing. Their bond had been part of the show's magic. Now that chemistry was gone, leaving behind a void that no one could fill. Those who knew Cleto best described him as humble and grounded, a man who treated everyone the same, regardless of fame or status. On set, he was known for his warmth, his jokes, and his ability to calm the room when things got stressful. He never craved attention. He simply loved what he did. In many ways, Kimmel's tribute wasn't just about losing a band leader, it was about losing a piece of himself. The two had met as boys, grown into men, and built their dreams side by side. They had shared success and struggle, laughter and silence. Their friendship was real, untouched by Hollywood's glamour or ego. When Kimmel said goodbye that night, he did so not as a host, but as a friend, mourning someone irreplaceable. "Even though my heart is broken," he said, "I'll take a lesson from Cleto. He was grateful for every day, every moment. He loved life. He loved people. He loved this show. And I was lucky to have him by my side." As the screen faded to black, there was no fanfare, no closing theme, just stillness, a moment of respect for a man whose music and kindness had filled that stage for over 20 years. For Jimmy Kimmel, the show will go on, but it will never be the same. Every time the band plays, There will be an empty space where Cleto once stood, a silence that says everything words cannot. Cleto Escobedo III leaves behind not just a legacy of music, but a story of friendship, loyalty, and love that lasted a lifetime. His saxophone may have gone quiet, but the echo of his laughter and the warmth of his soul will live on, in the memories of his family, his friends, and the millions who saw the bond between him and Jimmy Kimmel as something truly special. As Kimmel's final words reminded the world that night, "We're not here forever. Cherish your friends." It was not just a closing line. It was a truth born from heartbreak. Cleto's song has ended, but his melody will never fade.